Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello everyone. In this series video we're going to look at what macroeconomics is all about. We're going to start with chapter 1, GDP. GDP stands for gross domestic product. We'll see this later on. So let's get started. In this chapter we're going to cover these questions. First question, what is economy and what is economics? Second question, we'll cover what are the key principles and definitions of economics. And the third question, we'll see what microeconomics and what macroeconomics are all about. And the fourth questions, we'll see what macroeconomic goals and indicators. And the fifth question, we'll examine the 5 sectors, the vital sectors of the economy. And the sixth, finally, and eventually, we'll see how to measure economic activity. Now, why do we study economics? Actually, we study economics to determine how to best increase our nation's wealth. In this definition, wealth includes tangible as well as intangible goods and services. Tangible goods and services such as cars, clothing, houses, food, etc. Intangible goods and services such as protection from violence, clean air, entertainment, leisure time, etc. Now, is economics the study of money? Is it the study of money? It deals with money. Is it about trade-offs and scarce resources? Is it about budget deficits? Is it about inflation? Is it about banking system? Is it about accounting? About revenues? Is it about eliminating poverty? Actually, all these topics are potentially important topics in the study of economics. So the main objective of the economic research, is its ability to explain how we can most optimally achieve the highest standard of living. Thus, economics is the study of how we can best increase a nation's wealth with the resources that we have available to us. Now, this question is very relevant in economics studies. How can we best increase our nation's wealth? Actually, some economists support considerable government involvement, price controls, and government rules and regulations. However, on the other hand, others believe that government involvement should be minimal and limited to tasks including the provision of legal system, military, police and fire, protection, and providing certain public goods and welfare programs. Not only those, actually, economics, it deals with different controversies and polemics and issues. Among issues, there are many. For example, the controversy about the role of profits, consumer spending, savings, capital formation, polemics about income distribution, about compensations and the role of unions, etc. So among other questions we can ask, or economists they ask, should we more heavily tax profits to more equally distribute the wealth in our country? Should we encourage spending and discourage saving to stimulate economic growth? Or should we just do the opposite? Should we limit CEO compensation? Do unions raise real wages or only nominal wages? Are they beneficial or harmful to our economic growth? So many actually other important questions. Actually, those all are very important to economists, and we'll try actually to elaborate through this series of videos. Actually, we didn't yet answer the question, or what is the difference between economy and economics. Actually, economy consists of all activities involved in the production of goods and services. So there are activities, not the study of it, because economics, as we defined earlier, is about the study of the economy. So here, economy is the activities themselves. So the activities that engage in production of goods and services. The economy is, according to the Oxford Learner's Dictionary, the relationship between production, trade, and the supply of money in a particular country or region. So we can say, for example, Moroccan economy, or the economy of Morocco, the economy of Spain, the economy of the United States, etc. As well as we can say, for example, the economy is in recession, okay, right? Now, how do we measure success of an economy? Actually, we do essentially by the standard of living that it delivers. Okay? By standard of living, we don't mean only the quantity of goods and services that we consume, but essentially the aspect of quality of life, including but not limited to health, leisure time, environmental amenities, welfare programs, etc. Actually, welfare also conveys the idea of well-being. Basically, in measuring the standard of living, we are not concerned simply with the average level of consumption or income, but also its distribution among households. So second point refers to income inequality. So we might ask this question: which society enjoys a higher standard of living? One with a high average income but greater inequality, or one with a lower average income but less inequality? The answer is ultimately a value-based judgment, but most people probably will say that there is a trade-off between the standard of living and inequality. The third point, how to measure the success of economy, refers to economic growth. The process of economic growth, a continuing increase in the standard of living that persists over decades, can only come from growth in the productivity of labor. So, an increase in the standard of living requires in turn that a society devote a portion of its economic output to research and development of new technologies, to education and training of workers, to the production of new capital goods, to the health, etc. And this can only happen if society is willing to forego some immediate consumption of goods and services, freeing a portion of the current output of the economy for investment in future growth. The fourth point is treats the productivity of labor, as far as we talked about economic growth, and basically the element to reach out to this economic growth is the productivity of labor. So now productivity of labor is the amount of goods and services produced per hour of labor input. But again, there is a kind of a trade-off between productivity of labor and leisure time. However, higher productivity makes possible higher standard of living because it allows the society to increase the consumption of goods and services, the leisure time later on, environmental quality, or all of these three. Actually, productivity can be increased by producing more capital goods, by advancing technology through research and development, and by improving skills through education and training. Affluent societies are remarkable for the quantity, quality, technological advancement of the capital goods, and for high level of skills and education of the citizens. In contrast, poor societies are marked by the paucity of both capital and skills. Now, back to our definitions. Economics is the study of how can best increase nations' wealth with the resources that we have available to us, that are available in the economy. Economy is the study of how society manages its scarce resources. So economics actually is about the choices. Everything is about just choices, the trade-off. If we want to choose something, we have to give up something else, is the concept of the opportunity cost. Economics is a science that studies economies and develops possible models for the functioning. That's why mathematics is very important for economic studies. Economic without S is an adjective meaning connected with the economy. We say the economic growth is very slow, for example. Economical, on the other hand, carries of a somewhat figurative meaning of not requiring too much of something. Is like saving, such as money, space, time. So we save in money, save in space, we save in time. For example, that placement of furniture exhibits a very economical use of space. Now, key principles of economics. Limited resources is one of the principles of economics, and limited wants and needs, scarcity. So scarcity with limited resources is similar. Resources, goods and services are limited related to the wants and desires for them. And then is about choices, and choices leads to the concept of opportunity cost. the opportunity cost is defined as the highest valued alternative for making any choice. So it's the highest valued alternative, the highest valued option that we have give up, we forgone in making any other choice. Again, people face trade-offs. All these concepts are related, actually. The cost of something is what you give up to get it. Rational people think at the margin. So in economics, we also use this, these concepts of rationality of economic agents. Rational people think at the margin. It's about the marginal cost, marginal benefits, etc. People respond to incentives, okay? Now, basic definitions, open and closed economy. So here is about the presence of foreign sector. So in an economy that is closed, okay, it's called a closed economy. So it doesn't, let's say, engage in international relations, okay? Otherwise, the economy is called open economy because of the presence of foreign sector. There is also private versus mixed economy. It's about actually the presence of government sector and economic growth that is measured in terms of what we discussed earlier, and essentially per capita GDP, for example, based on purchasing power parity. Every society must provide goods and services for the welfare of its citizens. So actually, to produce and distribute goods and services, this requires the use of resources, of economic resources. These economic resources are called the so-called factors of production. They may be thought of as falling into one of the four categories. What are those categories? We have land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. Now, land, this includes not only territory, but all the natural resources, basically everything related to extraction, for example, as minerals and fossil fuels, which the economy is endowed with. Labor, this refers to the services of human beings who bring not only their time and effort to the economy, but also their skills and competence. Capital, okay, this consists of all human-made tools used in the economy, machinery, machines, computers, buildings, vehicles, transportation systems. These tools of production are called capital goods, and they are necessary for any economy. Entrepreneurship, this is bringing together all the others, like a combination of the three others, okay? So it brings together land, labor, capital into productive units. For example, when Henry Ford organized the mass production of automobiles early in the 20th century, he brought labor and capital together in a new way on an assembly line. So bringing the cost of an automobile down to within the reach of the average Americans. Bill Gates is another, and his Microsoft company is another example of entrepreneurship that shows the potential of a personal computer, and now as a result is one of the most valuable companies in the world today and one of the most industries of all time. So those are factors of production. So now let's see what are economic systems. Basically, there are three economic systems. However, there are actually in real life many economic systems. So first economic system is laissez-faire, le laissez-faire in French. It refers to capitalism, okay? Second one is common economy for communism and socialism. And the third one is mixed economy. Okay, that's all for this video. We're gonna keep talking and continuing this session in the next video. Thank you for watching.